What is good, everybody, man? Thank you guys tuning in to another growth call. I've got myself and Mr. John Harp in the house. Hope you guys are well. And just kind of recap through the process, and the intent of the growth calls is really, giving yourself the foundation and framework to get clear on your business, what I need to be doing from, a daily execution commitment on what's within my control up until where we're at today, and really talking about the value and the value advantage, and being able to articulate our value before, during, and after the process. Also to those key vendors and external team that really helps execute on the process, as well as the overall experience that we want our clients to be able to to progress through. So we love to, kind of go through this, month over month over month, as just as human beings, we need to be reminded more than we need to be told. So, we're going to continue this cadence, and obviously this being the third Tuesday of the month, we're going to dive into the value advantage. What's up, Mr. Harp?
What's good, everyone?
All good, man. Rocking and rolling. I think, being at April of 24, full stride with a lot of agents in the spring market. Yep. I think it's, I don't want to say feast or famine. I mean, obviously, those that are progressing at a pretty good clip want to go even faster. And those that are standing still definitely want to get some momentum. So I do feel, and kind of your perspective with the multiple team members that you guys have. I just feel there's not a drastic comparison of the have and have nots, but it's pretty dang close. Is kind of what it feels like.
Well, I think the gap is going to widen. Rates
Correct.
Just went up. Rates are higher. Like I was just talking to one of my agents. You better get dialed in on who are the tire kickers and the time wasters, because, and I think that's the biggest challenge as we talk about, the launch and fast track and the value advantage, right? Unfortunately, guys, you may have to prospect more. And we've been saying this for the last 12 to 18 months. And you may have to prospect more because the people that get in front of you may not or can't perform. Or they may be able to perform, but they don't want to perform in this market. And I was just talking to one of my agents, and, they're like, hey, like I got people that I send over to get pre-approved and then they don't complete it. Cool. Like you need to move on. Like those people will be there when they make the decision to actually get pre-approved, but you can't show them homes. You can't beg them to get pre-approved. You can't do anything else with that person until they're ready to take that next step themselves. And so, this market is not getting any easier, in my opinion, right? I mean, it was moving. We had the best Q1 ever, with our team, but rates just went up. Inventory is still low. Price points are still rising in my market. And so, what do we need to be doing to make sure that when we do get in front of people, that we're able to explain to them what we're bringing to the table and how we're the right solution for them when they're buying a home or selling a home. And, it's interesting. We're going to talk about the value advantage, but I think it goes something that's a little bit more simpler to that. And I think, agents sometimes get lost in the weeds of what the consumer actually wants. Mm-hmm. I did a training with people in our organization last week called Navigating Buyers in 2024. And I pulled stats and, went through it because it was mostly focused on, okay, these buyers agreements, right? Like, how do we get out in front of this? What do we need to be thinking about? What are buyers wanting? The top 3 things that buyers were pulled by NAR in 2024, so a recent study, across all age ranges, the number one thing, 50% of buyers wanted the agent to find them the right home. Not a home, the right home. Yep. There's a difference there. 12% wanted agents to negotiate the right terms.
Okay.
11% wanted them to negotiate price.
Okay.
Those are the top 3 things. And so when we talk about NDEA and what you guys created, right? What do buyers want? They want selection, price and terms, ease of doing business. So when you guys are crafting your value advantage, and we'll dive into it, right? But it's not, I am honest with my clients. It's not, I am knowledgeable. Yes, those are all should be like minimum standards. It's like when a lender tells me, well, I communicate. Oh shit, I hope you do. That should be a minimum standard. But then how do we craft our value based off of the number 50%, finding the right home? Well, how do we do that? Why, working with me, am I able to get you the right home?
Because I'm going to sit down and ask you questions, right? I'm going to get really inquisitive and understand your needs and wants analysis. I'm going to talk to you about future home ownership of the home. What is the goal? Is this an ROI based decision for you, or is this a pain pleasure decision for you? How long are you going to be here? When you do move, where are you going? I think it's just all of the multiple, variables that go into play that a lot of, especially newer agents getting into the business that just haven't developed the skill set. And the reason why they don't gravitate to the listing side quicker is because it has traditionally been easier on the buy side to get away and get rewarded for bad behavior. With the regulations and everything changing, that is going to change. And I think that's what everybody needs to understand, is that you can see results. However, if you're not disciplined into a process, all you're doing is getting rewarded with bad behaviors, is what we say all the time, right? Skipping steps only presents the illusion of speed. And maybe you've been in a market that you've been able to skip these steps for even a decade. However, guess what? It always catches up to you at some point. So, really stepping back and recommitting to this process is what you and I were talking about before coming online, that, the real probability of just buyer focused only, brokerages popping up could be a real thing. But the only way that that's going to be possible is a process, a clear process to find out exactly what it is to be able to get them the right home, find out their financial, asking them the tough questions, financial situation, things that's getting to the lender, pre-approved, multiple options, what's best for them based upon their goals, longevity of the loan, future home ownership, investment costs, things that they need to factor in. And then to the third, obviously the ease of doing things, but, terms, negotiating a better fair price. So that goes to you as a true expert of the market. Right? You've got to look at it in the purchase, just like you would if you were trying to justify the sell of that home. And I think there's just so many other variables that go into play. I mean, CHBA is perfect, because if they follow the certified home buying advisor process, it answers it solves those top three things that buyers are looking for in 2024 and beyond.
Yeah. And I think, there's things, and again, this all comes back to the value advantage, right? The value advantage is your consultation, right? It's your buyer consultation. And so, these are some of the conversations I'm having with other team leads at different brokerages in my marketplace. Like, I believe bigger teams are going to be better suited than small teams in the new environment. I believe the brokerage that you're at is going to matter a little bit more in the new environment. And I believe that, are you collaborating and networking with other agents in your marketplace? And those agents will have an advantage over the agents that don't. And don't forget, I am that agent that for the first 8 to 10 years didn't give a shit to collaborate with other agents in my marketplace. Now I do. And I know it's helped our team on deals in the past. And I know it's going to help our team in the future. And I know that one of the things that we probably have to become a best practice is, are you prospecting other agents? I brought this up in a podcast, and, one of the first people that I ever started learning from was Joshua Smith out in, I think he's in Arizona, GSD mode.
Yeah.
And he built his business, his team on open houses. And the one thing that always stuck with me out of all of the videos that he's done, the one thing that has always stuck with me is, I prospected real estate agents like I prospected leads. I called agents asking for open houses. He prospected agents begging for open houses, right? And that's how and so now we have to do the same, right? Whether it's within your brokerage, outside of your brokerage, whatever. How do we hit on selection? Hey, I have a network of agents on my team. I have a network of agents within my brokerage. And again, this is where I think size matters. I have a network of agents in my marketplace that I collaborate with that on Fridays I call from 12 to 3 p.m. and I just call down the list of, hey, John, do you have anything coming up for sale in this area? Hey, do you have anything coming up for sale in that area? Right. And so now I'm trying to find you those off-market solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can explain that and show my buyer client across the table that that's something that I do and other agents don't do, that's a win for me.
Right.
Like I'm doing for sale by owner walkthroughs right now. On the simple premise that I know most agents don't even check Zillow for sale by owners for their clients.
Right.
And so just this past weekend, I walked the FSBO, sent the details out to the agents on my team, and some of them had some buyers that might be interested in it. And so, it's those type of things. Are you doing it? Are you willing to do it? And then will you articulate that you're doing it? Because you may already do that, but if you're not explaining to the consumer that you are doing it, and here's why it's an advantage to you, you're missing a big piece of value to the buyers when we understand that 50% of buyers pulled in 2024 wanted help finding the right home. Mm-hmm. That's what they want their agent for.
Yeah.
It's not knowledge in place. It's not.
You can't do that being an order taker, man. You've got to, sit down, create consultative, strategy, an approach to what it is that we're wanting to accomplish. But it's like you said, right? You've got to be able to articulate that value and why it's so important. And then using those statistics, say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, we know, statistically, what buyers are looking for in today's market is for us as your, professional, extension, professional guide, advisor, however you would want to, craft that, kind of really who you are in this process. I mean, don't get me wrong. You're not the hero here, right? You're the guide helping them get to their destination. And along the way, you need to know exactly what it is that they're looking for, because one, we know they want us to find the right home. And so what all has to happen for that to be true? And then, having the right team and support, and the lenders. And, I had a great conversation with, a longtime client, yesterday, and, just some programs that he had kind of backed into, he had to move away from because it was, and it was in alignment with a particular, mortgage program and company that he had to move away from because the product wasn't what was best for his client. So, I think that's so critical, knowing how important that is. It's a small percentage, but it's the number two thing that that buyers are really looking for.
Yeah.
In who they hire. And that's what we need to understand is who they are hiring. They're hiring us, and we've got to be able to articulate that. I think as we start to think about our value at a much deeper level, I think let's get back to understanding a couple principles, and I think this will be helpful for everybody, John. One, what is the result that buyers want? We just gave the answer, right? They want us to find the home. They want us to get them the best terms, get them in the best price, right? Because that's really what they care about is what is their monthly payment. That's what buyers buy payment. Yeah. And then the third thing is negotiate, the best price and terms or the best, feel. I think what it is, John, when I hear that, I think it's that they want to feel as if they're that expert agent that they hired is actually going to battle for them. Yeah. Right. That's what I hear when they say, hey, let's, hey, I want them to negotiate the best price for me. What I hear is, man, they just want to see me going to battle for them, like that yeah. I got their back, and I'm just not yeah. folding just to get the deal done. So that's what I hear. Now, we know that's the results. And that's ultimately what they want, right? That's what they're buying. So what is the minimum? This gets into the value, the offer in value equation. What is the minimum required activities to get that result? The minimum. So think about that. Obviously, it comes down to a conversation. Obviously, it comes down to the consultative kind of strategy session where you're asking a bunch of questions, helping them get clear, because a lot of them are not typically clear, and getting them kind of maybe problem aware of the problems that they have in order for that to be true. And really, going through the consultative approach, and then identifying within the market and based upon who they are and their resources and their timelines and their goals, getting them to a lender that is going to be able to tailor a product for them that's going to be able to do that. So it comes down to a conversation, a strategy conversation, a lender getting them over to the right product, setting up a search and absolutely finding it. And then I think your job here too is constantly reminding them of what it is that they're looking for. And I think agents in the past have just been, oh, okay, just kind of go as the wind blows. But it's like, hold on. Remember when we sat down and we laid out our strategy and we talked about, needs, wants analysis, what's perfect, home as an investment, long-term based upon our goals. You're going to be here for, 5 years and then transitioning out. It's important that we're in this school district and in this school system. Okay. These properties that you're showing me, which is great, they're all outside of the school district. Has our search, has our goal changed? Right. So I think learning how to navigate those conversations to help them get that result. And then that's it. Everything else that happens, John, is all about improving the experience.
Yep.
And then what I would say, how we would want to craft this, as we're just speaking on the buy side right now, and we look at our buyer advantage program, I think you start to look at what objections are you going to get? What objections are you going to get from the buyer? Because that should be a part of your value advantage program, right? We do this in the offer equation, right? Oh, this bonus. Oh, this bonus. Well, your bonuses in real estate need to be inside of your buyer advantage program on the buy side, right? So, hey, if you work with me, you're going to get this. Hey, you're going to work with me this. Hey, who do you know to help move? Hey, great question you ask. We do have our moving van that we offer to our clients. You're able to utilize that. Once we know your closing date and timeframes, we'll be able to do that. Oh, you need moving boxes and materials. Don't worry, we've got you covered. We've got you up for 25 boxes, right? And then it's just like, you said, you have your branded logo on those things, QR code, everything else. So you start to think through all of the objections and questions. And then to me, that's how you start laying out your buyer's advantage program. And you can do the same thing on the listing side. Oh, by the way, when you hire us, we're going to do this for you. 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 And the things that you should be doing are the things that you're going to get objections and questions about. That's how I think, agents need to be thinking. And remember, you and I know this, right? We're marketers first, and we just happen to help buyers. Hey, we're marketers that just happen to help sellers. Hey, we're marketers that just happen to recruit agents. What are we? What are we doing? It doesn't matter. We're a marketer and we get to adjust. And when we craft our offer, we focus on the result that people want, the problems they want solved. What's the minimum thing that we must do? It's part of our value equation that we must do to get that result. And then everything else improves the experience and also covers their objections. And if you just lay all of that out and articulate it, they should have no objections. It should be so like, I'm an idiot if I don't move forward with this guy.
Yeah. 100%, and one of the stats I shared last week was on leading the buyer, the client, to the right people. And yesterday, Glenn shared at the regional rally that consumers are not commission sensitive. Consumers are experience sensitive. And he said if consumers were commission sensitive, they would all go and work with Redfin agents. And I think as real estate agents, we like to over exaggerate news, right? Like we like to over exaggerate. We believe, and here's probably why, is probably because most real estate agents don't believe that they are worth what they charge. And so therefore they think that we're getting attacked and people are coming after our commissions. But if you actually deliver an over the top experience, you're going to get what you're worth. And I'll just give you a real life example. I posted it today on my Facebook group or on my Facebook page. We were down in Charleston, South Carolina for my birthday and for our baby moon. We went to a steakhouse called Hall's Chop House. First time there. Anna put in there that, we're there celebrating my birthday. It was like my birthday dinner. We said something to the server that we were also celebrating our baby moon. Yesterday, I got a handwritten note in the mail. And so a $300 dinner will now turn into a raving fan.
Yeah.
And we had already told people like, hey, you got to, if you ever go to Charleston, go to the steakhouse, right? But now it turned into a raving fan to where every time we go back to that city and we like that city, that we will be there. So a $300 dinner turned into several thousands of dollars over the course of our life of traveling back there to it, right? And so it's experience. It's not commission sensitive. It's experience sensitive. And so as we talk about the value advantage, and we all can always improve this, right? It's the book Unreasonable Hospitality, right? Yeah. It's how can we improve the experience? And we all know that the buying process sucks, right? We all know that it's not fun, that, it's high stress, right? High anxiety. There's a lot of things that are outside of our control and even our borrower's control. But, how are we delivering on the experience? I kicked off the call with 50% of buyers wanting to buy the right home. I always try to tell our agents, my job's not to get our clients in contract. My job is to get them to the closing table.
Yeah.
So how many showings, right, are you going on? Are you picking out that, the roof is older, right? The window, this one window has a broken seal, right? Hey, just so you know, this furnace is like 2 years old, right? Like, I'm not just showing homes. I want to make sure we have some of these upfront conversations so that way when we get into contract and we go into the inspection period, we already know, we've already spoke on some of these things, right? Yeah. Like I'm controlling some of that experience or that process of an inspection. And that when they do get that list, that's, 40 items long, that, hey, this isn't a big deal because we already spoke about it. This isn't a big deal because we already spoke about it, right? This is a big deal because we already spoke about it, right? And so that just lowers the anxiety level or the stress level, the uncertainty level of the client, because we're knowledgeable enough on the front end to have some of those conversations, right? And so, those are some of the differences, when you're talking about an agent that may only charge this versus an agent that gets that. And that was the other thing that Glenn mentioned yesterday. It would not surprise him if now agents make more money on the buy side.
Yeah, I would agree. When you can remember, in the absence of value is when people question price. If you can clearly articulate your value and knowing what problems these people want you to solve, they will pay whatever. Right. There's extreme examples with it when you look at it, but when things that you want this pain, and I think too, it's a pain or pleasure thing, unless you're dealing with an investor, then it's an ROI thing. And so I think you need to know who your audience is and who your clientele is, because if you try to go after a pain or pleasure value on somebody that's just ROI based, you're not going to connect. Yeah. And vice versa. Right? Like if you're going ROI when somebody's like emotionally attached to this situation, you're going to lose. Yeah. And so I think that's where, it's just interesting, 50% of the buyers want you to find the right home. What is the right home for them? And it's really being that consultative advisor and really asking those questions. And then at that point, you can charge more than what the market charges and be okay with it because of the value. And, I think one of the things that you're talking about in there is the conversation around future home ownership costs. and being able to really have that tough conversation with them about, hey, this, they're not going to call out on this, but you guys are going to be here for 5 years. It looks like the roof has only 2 years of life left. So, pray a hailstorm comes along, but they're already going to depreciate it down. So just know that might be an issue, right? Or HVAC is X number of years old, right? It only has so much life left. Just know that that's going to be there. And this is why, this home warranty is so critical for us to have, and then don't let it lapse. We're going to continue it because, it'll still cover us. Right. So then that goes into your follow-up, and you're making sure all of those things are there, and that just improves the experience. But if you don't have those conversations out on the front end, then it doesn't matter. So I think just really being strategic in the conversation is so important here.
Yeah. And I think, some of the things that I think will matter maybe a little bit more, in the future, reviews and testimonials,
1,000%. Case studies,
stories,
hey, help somebody in your city.
Yep. I think, I think making sure, someone that has to move in 30 days is willing to pay a certain amount versus someone that has to move in 3 years. Right. So, how are you attracting those people? What services are you providing? I think, I brought up on my clubhouse call, are you going to have a guarantee? Well, I'll call you back in 2 hours. Hey, I'll get you into any home in under 24 hours or 12 hours or what, you know what I mean? Could you roll out that type of experience based off of how your team or business is set up? Maybe some can and some won't be able to.
Right. Or some have a desire to, right?
Sometimes.
So I think it really comes down to the market that you want to serve. Where is the opportunity? What pains do they have? And then how do you harness that? That really, it starts on the front end instead of trying to be something to everybody. And I get it, right? When you're starving, you're looking for any type of business possible, you're going to bend on those things. And I'm not saying that that's not okay. I'm just saying, have a framework of kind of guardrails that you want to try to stay within. Doesn't mean that there are rules, right? Rules are meant to be broken. But if we have guardrails, if we have, some guidelines, right, that we want to kind of play within, if we have to step outside of those boundaries, given the season of the market, the situation, of course.
Yeah.
However, our ideal, not saying all of our clients, but our ideal client is this, and this is their problem, and this is how we're going to help them solve it. And getting clear on that, John, I think is really so important. But that goes back to, step one of the blueprint, and what we talk about on the first Tuesday of every month we talk about is really, the launch and the foundation in which you're going to, build your business upon.
Yeah. You know what else I think's, really going to matter moving forward? You're knowing your stats, hey, on average, my typical buyer, we see 7 homes, and I usually get them in contract after the second offer.
Yeah. And we do that.
I mean?
This is how we do it. Right.
Yeah. And this is how, hey, for example, if you're really good at getting people into contract, right? And here's how we do it, here's what my stats are. And here's the other thing. Most agents don't even know that, and so I think some of those things we have to start making best practice. I got to start doing some of that stuff, right? Start tracking, how many, on average, how many homes are we seeing, right? On average, how many offers are we writing? On average, right? What's X, Y, and Z that we're seeing within the winning offers versus the losing offers? Yeah. And so that way, again, you mentioned it, case studies, right? Hey, if I have 10 examples of winning offers over here, 10 examples of losing offers over here, and there's differences, now we know what to talk about. And then you could, again, real estate's hyper local. Maybe it's a school district that you start tracking stuff in, right? Or even a certain neighborhood if you specialize in certain areas. And so I think some of those things, and again, we're talking you articulating your value to a client. For example, if you're looking for a house and someone wants convenience, because we know that's one of the 3 things that someone wants, and I'm able to show them reviews, testimonials, case studies of how on average, my client only has to write 2 offers and look at 7 homes, and I can show them that with proof, with evidence, and another agent doesn't even bring that up, who do you think is going to get the business? You are. And so I think we have to change some things in our approach. I'm going through this stuff with my team and within our own business, because we have to, right? There's going to be a pivot, and if you're not willing to do it now, you're going to be left behind.
Right.
And what's going to be even left further behind is your commission, right? Because now you're going to be fighting that race to the bottom instead of actually setting your own price.
Right.
And so the value advantage, right? Like it's before, during, and after. And then obviously with your affiliates, are you working with the right home inspector? Are you working with the right insurance agent? Are you working with, financial advisors, attorneys, to set up living wills and estates after the fact? Are you working with moving companies, right, that are taking care of your clients the way that you want them to be taken care of?
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things I see agents do wrong all the time is their affiliates. Well, I like working with so-and-so because they're great at communicating. I don't really
It's a table stake. Yeah.
I don't really care.
How do they help in the overall experience? Because it's about lifetime value. Unless you want to be on the transaction treadmill, it's about lifetime value. You need to control the experience that goes with these vendors. But then it's like, how do they help offset the objections that this client has? How do they set us up not only for them, in the customer journey, not only to just be an advocate of ours, but now be a promoter, right? They're like the whole process, the whole experience was the best experience we've ever had.
Yeah.
And now they're singing from the rooftops and they become a lead getter for you.
Yep. A raving fan, which is what we want.
Man, that's it. It's exactly what we want. No, I think, John, there's so much opportunity here, and everything that we're talking about. If you just slow down and help them get clear, make them problem aware based upon needs, wants, analysis, their goals, what product is really on the ground, what's reality, what's out there, and then being able to create a plan, and a strategy based upon what it is that they are trying to accomplish, not you, what they are trying to accomplish. And you craft your value around getting them that result within the experience to create a raving fan. And you offer, reassurance on the things that they were already questioning and thinking about.
Yep.
That's where we have to get to. And it's all 100% about being a marketer. And, we've said it for years, and it'll always be true. It's not the best real estate agent that wins. Never has, never will be. It will always be the best marketer that wins, because just like you said, market's tough. Inventory is low, rates are high. What happens if that shifts? What happens if that goes the other way around? Right?
Yep.
Tons of inventory. You and I've played in that market. I mean, we had 200 active listings in our own company at one time. Yep. That's a whole nother problem. Yep. So how do what's the value there, right? What's the value to our buyer when they have so much selection?
Yeah.
But when you're a great marketer and you have this framework and this process to operate within, it doesn't matter what's going on. It just doesn't matter. Because you can make the pivots and the adjustments and execute fast.
100%. 100%.
Love it, man. Obviously, throughout the whole blueprint, but, for me, it really is getting into value, because value really gets into offer and offer then gets into, really getting the message out there to the real opportunities that we have in front of us. So, definitely, guys, if you have any questions, jump on a call with us, sevenfigurecall.com. Reach out to John, the blueprint. I mean, he can take you a little bit deeper. Obviously what they do day in and day out with the Columbus House team in Columbus, Ohio, number one team at EXP in the state of Ohio. And, that's not going to slow down. We're going to continue to keep pouring gas on it is. And the reason that they're having that growth, guys, and they're doing the things that they're doing, 100% of everything we're talking about here, everything that we come to you guys live every Tuesday. Obviously now I'm super excited. Conversations have been kind of behind, closed group, but now out on YouTube, and then getting it out and sharing it out on the podcast platform. So definitely getting this message out, sharing this. If you guys, love it, give us some love, give us some share. If we're off, let us know. If we have some additional thoughts or some questions, let us know. And it's what we're here to serve and help you guys get clear and execute.
Book a call with us, subscribe to the YouTube channel, share this with a friend.
1,000%. Brother, appreciate you. And
Alrighty.
keep our foot on the gas. We're going to keep going. See you.
Yes, sir.
All right, later.